Well, hello, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live, and what a beautiful day it is today. I'm sure that you're all getting really ramped up for Christmas now, and hopefully that you are not too stressed. I wanted to make sure that for those of you who might be new to the broadcast, that you understand how we do this. We always spend the first little while talking about news, views, and updates, because we're like an extended family of people and we actually care about one another. And so we like to be able to keep people updated in terms of how other members of the DearMamaSal team are doing. For those of you watching on the replay, if you want to skip that, it'll tell you that from 00 onward to such and such a time, we'll be doing news, views, and updates. And then from this time onwards, roughly. It never quite works out the right way, but it'll give you a benchmark as to where to start tuning in. If you just want to see the topic of the day. And the topic of today, funny enough, is controlling people. Not how do you control them, but how to deal with people who are controlling. And once it's going to be a case study. So if you are going to be watching this on the replay, really recommend you grab yourself a piece of paper and a pencil or something with which to write so that you can make notes to yourself, because this really is quite an interesting case study and one that I'm certain will have you all rolling your eyes. But because of that, I thought it would be a really good one for us to talk about. Hi there, Jody. Good to see you. So we're going to start off just by saying my thoughts and prayers go out for everybody in Indonesia who got caught up in that tsunami. Obviously, hi, Erin. It was a huge shock, and what a loss of life, and without any warning as far as I could see. However, Lauren and a couple of other people did contact me and ask me, have I heard from Oz? As usual, Oz was particularly slow in getting back to me, but then I'd like to believe that maybe the cell towers weren't working as well as they might have done. And quite honestly, the text he sent me back was quite normal. I quite honestly, if you ask me, I wonder whether he knows there's been a tsunami. You know what I mean? I think he's out somewhere living in peace with the world. And, he'll probably be quite surprised in about a week when he finds out there was a very great tsunami. So what I've done is, so that we don't worry quite as much about him, I've asked him to at least let me know what island he is on. So we go, okay, that happened near that island, and Oz is, 2,000 islands away, which I thought would be a much better way of dealing with it. On the good news, I thought I would start doing on the broadcast just a quick feedback. I will be doing it on vlogs, but just a quick feedback. I want to tell you the great news of the day was I have already dropped, I think it's 1.3 pounds since Wednesday. And as you probably know, that's part of my goal here is to drop a fair amount of weight. I don't want to be ridiculous about it. I want to do it in a way that is lifestyle. And what I found out for me is, boy, it really helps if you keep check on what your carb intake is. And I'm going to be talking a lot in the future about sneaky carbs because I didn't know there were such things. We all understand that maybe I shouldn't be, eating sugar. Yeah, Christmas. I shouldn't be eating sugar and certain other things. But, what I found really interesting was until you really start studying this, and you know me, I have a mind that likes to study things. Until you start studying it, you don't really know. For example, I thought I'd show you. And here we go. Now, I've got two people that I can see online who are diabetic or have restricted carb diets. So they'll probably know the answer to this. But what I want to do is for the people watching later to get an idea. I've got two things here. This one is a flat out multigrain with flax, very healthy flatbread. And this is a whole wheat flatbread. Now, I don't know about you, but I thought they would both be equally good. And that was my sense. So today, what I decided to do, because I wanted to talk about these sneaky carbs, is to find out just how good they are. And these have got 1 gram of sugar in them, which I didn't know about. And they have 32% fiber. Now we know 32% fiber is good, all right? All right, so now Erin's saying carbs turn everything that you have eaten into sugar. So you don't have to worry about the sugar. If you eat the carbs, it will turn absolutely everything you've eaten into sugar for the day. Okay, that's why I'm controlling my percentage of carbs, and I'll tell you how I'm doing that. So anyway, got the idea about that one. Now, would you think that these whole grain wheat wraps, they're a little bit smaller, to be fair. Let me have a look here. Yeah, they're about a third smaller. But listen to this. These have 1 gram of sugar as well, and 7% fiber. Okay, so even though, hang on, let me get the figures here. Even though this, I would have thought, funny enough, that this was better, and I think I'm right, because of the amount of fiber. This only has 7% fiber, and this one has 32. That's amazing, isn't it? 32, and they both have the same sugar content. So, interesting. And Erin's saying those things are definitely not equal. Okay, what made you say that? So I thought that was interesting. Now, the one that really shocked me, and I've got to say that, and that's when I realized I'm probably going to have to start wearing a little bracelet that says hello. I have diabetes, but until I find out which one, it's not much point in doing that, but I'm going to be ready. All right, here's another quick one for you, for those of you who are interested, and I'm sure some of you watching on the replay are. Here is a Halls cough drop and a piece of gum. Just in your mind, which one do you think is the worst, and to what degree? So, and those of you who are here that are diabetic already, you probably know the answer to this, but I just want to get my figures up, because I actually did check it before I came on to the broadcast. So let me just get those figures up for you. Come on, machine. Now, I was pretty sure that the Halls was pretty bad for you, but I also thought, well, hang on, gum can't be that good for you either. So here we go. In terms of calories alone, 15 calories for that tiny little thing. Loaded with sugar, Jody, you're quite right. Loaded with sugar, all right? This, 7 calories. So immediately, this is half of that, which surprised me. I thought this would be really bad for you. So again, that's just on calories. So let's have a look here on cough drop. Hang on a second. Let's see whether we can get some nutritional effects. 4 grams of sugar in the cough drop. That's quite a bit. And let's go back a screen here. The chewing gum, surprisingly, 2. So on every scale, this is better. If you've got to have something, don't pop in a cough drop, grab some gum. So that surprised me. And so I'm going to be talking a lot about sneaky carbs. If any of you would like to give me some feedback, if that's what you like to do, I'd like to do that as well on my my vlog, so that people understand that, the things that you think. I was just put down a vlog, and I'll put it in here because not everybody sees this broadcast. But I actually analyzed the difference between whole fat milk, 2% milk, skim milk, skim milk powder, and coconut milk. And it was really interesting because, for the longest time, I have used made up skim milk powder for my coffees. Yeah, I make my latte out of skim milk powder that's reconstituted. Well, to my absolute horror, I found out they're the worst. That is the worst. If you can believe it, I'm going. I've been having 2 to 3 of those a day for 2 decades. So guess what? I'm going to listen to Beth, who told me unsweetened almond milk is great. Does it froth up? I can't say that word. Froth up in a frothing machine, because I like to have my latte. I think I've tried soy milk, and that doesn't work very well in my machine. So I will try some almond milk. I'll Jody, if you can make a note, I'll put it on my shopping list for next time I go. I've just come back. So if it does, yeah, I get, it's worth trying, right? Everything's worth trying. By the way, I normally have my 3rd cup of coffee of the day on Sunday when I'm doing the broadcast. You'll be surprised to hear I made a lifestyle change, and this is actually green tea. Now, I haven't checked to see the damage of green tea, but I'm pretty certain it's better for me than another latte. All right, so now I just want to reconfirm for everybody that we will be doing a Christmas broadcast 7 o'clock Pacific time on YouTube, same thing, on Christmas Day, because some people are going to be on their own and they said they would like one, so I will gladly do one on that day. Green tea is a great metabolism booster. Yes, I was very proud of myself. I did get 5,000 steps in yesterday, which is nearly, I've been averaging about 3 or 4, so 5,000 was definitely an improvement for me. And I now get to put in that I've dropped this pound off, so let me just record that because that's really important. I couldn't believe that today. I just went, oh, look at that. I've actually already lost. Now, I do understand that, like all things, the first couple of days, you probably are going to do better than, until you start getting frustrated or bored. I understand that these lifestyle changes, you have to sort of get into a pattern. But to me, I want to keep excited about the things that I do that are right. And that is important to me. It dipped down. So I wanted to show you. Okay, hang on a second. Look at this, guys. I started wearing the Fitbit in July. Look what happened to my weight and my metabolism. I did really nothing but put on weight from July. Isn't that scary? And I knew there was something wrong because although I wasn't eating that well, I knew I wasn't eating that badly. Something was wrong. And I guess I found out what it is. So that is 11 pounds, I believe, that I put on from since July. And if I put it on that quickly, hopefully by doing the right things, I'll be able to get rid of it that quickly. Wouldn't that be wonderful? All right, so here we go. Are you ready for an interesting little bit of discussion on a case study? I'm not sure if people are going to come into the middle of this, and if they do, I might have to quickly catch them up. So just bear with me for those of you who are on here already. Jody, if you could just take a note, this is basically 15 minutes in, that we're going to be starting the topic of the day. Oh, before I do that, birthdays, I know that tomorrow is Linda's birthday in the UK. For those of you who know Linda, I will be putting up a reminder because Jody will remind me to do that. And for those of you going, who's Jody? Jody is one of my viewers that's my admin, and she does such an awesome job. And I don't know how she does it, because she does it all with a phone, not with a laptop and 5 other appliances. She just does an absolutely amazing job with that. So I appreciate that. So I must remember to get it up tonight because she is in the UK and that's 8 hours ahead, 8 or 9. Never quite sure at this time of the year, but anyway, it's in that range. So I want to make sure I get a happy birthday wish up for her. I just had a wonderful hour, I think, just about talking to Benji, for those of you who know Benji. I was just getting ready to get things ready for the broadcast. And, I was going out to go and pick up my shopping. And he called me and we had a very unexpected long chat. And, it was just like, okay, I was still chatting to him as I was getting in the car and going to pick up the groceries and everything else. So that was very exciting for me. And I'm hoping that sometime between now and the next couple of days, I'm going to get to be on, not on FaceTime because I'm on Android, but we'll get on Hangouts or something so I can have the children show me what they got for Christmas. It's like I love to see children's excitement over the presents they got for Christmas. And I just wanted to say that the story you're about to hear is true. And I know some of you are just going to roll your eyes and go, what? But because it is true, I thought it would be a really good idea to discuss it, because if one person in the world is doing this, maybe another one is as well. Basically, I got a call and the person told me, and by the way, I have their permission to tell the story. The person told me that, just so that you know, they are living with their girlfriend and have been for some time. He's been living with her for some time. And his question to me was, can I ask your input on something? And I said, sure, honey, no problem. Just, tell me what it is you want. And he said, I just found out that I'm going to say mother-in-law because it's the girlfriend's mother. My mother-in-law came into our apartment while we were out and went through everything. And I've got it recorded on videotape. Went through everything and even went to our medicine cabinet and took pictures of the medication that I am taking. And I said, wow, really? And he was obviously very angry about that, and that I understood. And then he said, yeah, I know, Jody. I knew that's how you'd react, and I'm sure anybody would react that way. But what I said to him was, so what do you want the advice on? Well, I want to know what to do. And I let him talk. And I said, well, what do you think you should do? And he was talking about getting onto social media and shaming her and da-da-da-da-da. And he went on for a long time and it was very angry. And after a while, he calmed down enough and said, but what would you do? And I said, none of that. None of that. There are only two things that I would do, probably. And then he went off on another rampage for quite a while. And so I was wondering, what you would do if somebody did that. When you were out, if somebody came into your apartment. Now, I should tell a little bit of the backstory here, because that adds another dimension to it. The mother helped the daughter pay the down payment for the apartment. Do you understand that? She put up the deposit. So now I've had that conversation before, and I've said, well, that was a gift, I presume, or it's a repayable loan. It doesn't give her ownership of the property unless she is the sole person on the title. But can you see that at some level, this mother thinks she owns this thing? It's her right to be able to go in there and do whatever she wants. So, hi, Nyasha. So this controlling mother, stroke mother-in-law, what would you do? if you found out that somebody, your girlfriend or boyfriend or husband's mother was coming into your apartment when you weren't there and literally taking pictures of your private things, including your medications, what would you do? Yes, Jody, I did mention the word boundaries quite a few times, and we're going to get onto that in a minute. All right? But and I've had this discussion with this young man once before, and I said, the interesting thing, this is not for you to do something. This is for your girlfriend to do something, right? You cannot win by intervening. You will only become enemy number one, which you already are. But you understand this is not for you to do anything. This is for your girlfriend to do something. This is her mother, not yours. And, the interesting thing is that this adult child has not been able to tell her mother that she does not have the right to come into their apartment and take pictures of their private things. She does not have the right to come into their apartment. Now, the mother is going to say, yes, I do. I put down the deposit. Well, my simple answer to that was change the locks, for goodness sake. What is wrong with you? If the way she's getting in is by a key, change the locks. And by the way, if she complains about you changing the locks, I would have her daughter look at her and say, we thought it was perhaps more polite than a restraining order. Well, that's interesting, Erin, that Erin's saying that somebody needs to talk to the mother-in-law, a mother/mother-in-law, and I say that we want all those pictures back. Well, you're never going to get them back, right? Because they're digital. In the old days, you could ask for the negatives. And I'm pretty sure that whatever she wanted to do with investigating what medications, this viewer of mine was on, I'm pretty sure she's done that investigation already. So I wanted to talk about this because I want you all to understand that this mother was never taught boundaries. This mother feels entitled to go into her daughter's home, even though she's an adult, and quite honestly, in some level, I don't know if any of you agree with me, abuse them by overstepping those boundaries. It's a violation of their privacy for sure, or privacy, depending which country you grew up in. It's a violation of that, but can you understand why the person who told me this story was so angry? And it was interesting because, hi, Jamie, 100% abusive. Well, I'm not sure if it's 100% abusive. It is 100% rude. But part of me understands that this mother doesn't know any better. Do you understand what I'm saying? Nobody has taught this mother to let go and let the child be an adult. And that's an interesting dynamic here. Can you see that at some level, and this is what I was trying to make sure that he understood, at some level, the mother is trying to protect the child. Can any of you see that? That the mother actually, by doing what she's doing, is probably trying to protect the child. Yeah, Jody is saying she'd be so angry, she'd be incapable of speaking. Well, yeah, and that's where this person was as well, Jody, so angry. And then, of course, it got worse. It got, yeah, Nyasha, I totally understand your situation, all right? So just this is interesting. Yeah, if you were to get married, you fear that the same would happen to you. So this is a conversation that you may want to replay from the beginning a bit later on, because it really is quite an interesting story. So I can see at some level that the mother, if I put on, let me take it from both sides now. I got a feeling that the mother doesn't like this particular guy. I understand that. And probably is trying to get enough evidence to prove that to the daughter. Do you know what I mean? Part of me goes, I think my mother would have been close to doing that, but I don't think she would have dared do it. Yes, Nyasha, I quite agree. You would have told her off, even if it's your mother. And that's what nobody has done to the mother. And what the point was, Nyasha, is that he wanted to tell the mother. And he wanted to do it publicly so everybody in her family knew what a so-and-so she was. And I said, it's not for you to do. My input to you is change the locks. If she complains, make sure she knows it was better than a restraining order. But my next bit of advice was get out of town. He is considering moving away, taking a job in another town. And I said, it probably is a really good and useful thing to be happening to you. Because if you can get out of town, you're going to lose that problem for the most part. So can you see both sides of the story, though? And that's where I want to put you for a second. I want you to imagine you're the mother and your daughter is now living with somebody, and has been for a couple of years, living with somebody who you don't like, obviously. Even if you didn't like them, would you do this? I'm pretty sure you wouldn't. Because quite honestly, it's the daughter's decision. If she decides, I can remember my parents didn't like the guy I married either. And my mom really didn't like the guy I married. And not only that, but I traveled from Africa to Canada to marry him. You can imagine how upset my mom was about that, because she was living with me in Africa. So I cannot imagine that even if we didn't like the person that the daughter chose to live with, that we would not cross those boundaries. But I wanted to make sure you all know that there are people out there doing things like this. So I thought it was really important to talk about it. Can you also see that what I said was, the other choice is you can wait for the mother to grow up and learn about boundaries, but I have a feeling that hell will freeze over before that happens. Do any of you understand? Because a mother that is that old, that's got a grown-up daughter who's into her 30s, if she hasn't learned about boundaries by the time her daughter is 30, do you think she's going to actually understand them? And do you also understand why I said it's not for him to tell her, it is for the daughter to tell her? All right, so Nyasha's saying, no, that's not his place. Right, let his girl or wife do it. Absolutely, that's what I was saying. If it's done by him, her daughter won't like him for it because, it's her mother and she wouldn't like anybody. Yep. Exactly, but the funny thing is, Nyasha, just to give you a bit more background, that this sort of thing has happened before. And I have told him, this is not your job. This is your girlfriend's job. But, the girlfriend obviously doesn't like conflict because she's not doing that. So I said, well, if the apartment is in her name, the daughter's name, sell the apartment, give the mother back the money, and go buy another one that she has no stake in whatsoever. Do any of you understand why I said that? And make sure she doesn't have a key. And if ever you need to give her the key or tell her where the spare one is hidden, change the locks immediately. If you need her to go in there and tell her where the spare key is hidden, if you have one, make sure you change the locks again. I would actually recommend you get digital locks for somebody like that. But this was really, now, the reason I wanted to tell the story is because there was an adjunct to this. This thing went another step because I basically said, do nothing. All right, that was my advice, do nothing. And this person that I was talking to, who has known me for quite a while, said, what's happened to you? And I said, what? They said, you always used to have sphericals, the round things. You used to have sphericals. Now, that was a hit on me. But you see, I understood why he hit me with that comment. Because I didn't give him the answer that he wanted. And therefore, he was projecting his anger now onto me. And I wondered whether you would like to discuss with me what your reaction would have been if you had somebody you were trying to help attack you because you hadn't given them the answer they wanted. What is your best solution for that? And that's what I wanted to talk about it for, because you understand when somebody attacks you, it's human nature that you push back again. So how would you handle that? Give me your feedback if you can. And this is where, and what would your response to that have been? When somebody says to me, you used to have sphericals, balls. You used to, in other words, you used to be stronger than this. Now I think the word was used, and now you're a pushover. How many of you think I'm a pushover? Anybody? So the question is, how do you react to that? How do you respond to that? And I took a really deep breath, believe you me, because there's part of me that had words running across my tongue that wanted to get out because I'm good at that. And I shut down all the words, the negative words that were wanted to come out of my mouth. And I took a really deep breath and I said, in a very calm way, I said, maybe I've grown. And left it at that. And then he got angry again, really angry again, and lashing out at me again. And then I had to smile because I'm sitting here going, I could hear Linda, right? For those of you who know our viewer, Linda, I could hear Linda going, well, he's had his 10 minutes. And so I took Linda's advice and I said, honey, I'm glad that you phoned and I'm glad that we talked about this. I am certain that tomorrow this will look a little different to you. So just sleep on it and see how you feel about it tomorrow. I know you'll still be angry. I understand that, but maybe you'll understand this is not for you to do, but maybe you won't. And I need to remind you because I love you. This is your life. You get to do what you want to do, but you also pay the consequences. And from all I'm trying to warn you of is that you taking action on this will not, I agree with you, Nyasha, will not improve your relationship with your girlfriend. And it certainly will just mitigate the anger from the mother. She will, have more ammunition to shoot you with. So that's not what I would want for you because I love you. But if that's what you want, that's your right. It's your life. But I really do need to go now because I've got a video that I need to quickly edit and do some stuff with, and I've got people waiting for it. So please forgive me. I need to run. And I stopped the conversation. Jody's saying, remembering that there is a place, that they're in a place of anger is the key. So I try to be sympathetic, but also firmly remind them that they're lashing out in that anger. Yes, and that is, and I don't know if you heard that, Jody, but I actually said, I understand why you're angry at me. And you're angry at me because I'm not giving you the response you want. And he didn't like that. That made him more angry, but it was the truth. All right, so Nyasha saying, Mama Sal, I heard you said to her mom, put the deposit on the house, yes. Yes, the mother helped them by putting down the deposit. Yes, I agree. Hi, Sakura. Yes, I agree, Nyasha, that what they need to do is to get that sense of ownership gone. And I actually said it would be better just to sell the place and buy a new one because, really, even if they paid her back the money, at some level, she still feels she owns it. So I would go and find somewhere. I said, even if you have to rent for 6 months, get somewhere where she has no ownership and don't give her a key. So yes, Nyasha, good thinking. I agree with you on that one. So I thought you'd be, pleased to hear that I actually bought Linda's 10-minute rule in, and it worked really well. And I thought I would finish this in a way by saying, this morning I got an email saying that apparently I was a bit angry yesterday. And I'm thinking, you think? Yeah, apparently I was a bit angry yesterday. So that was, I guess, about as close to an apology as I was going to get, and I appreciated it. Yes, Nyash is also saying maybe that there's also furniture and stuff there. I don't think so. I think the only part is that, and somehow the brother is involved as well. So I think the apartment is jointly owned by the sister and the brother. Maybe he's on title with her, I think. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, but you got the general idea. But I thought I would talk about it so that, you guys would understand. And what I'm trying to make sure everybody understands, it is not for him to do anything. It is for the daughter to control the mother, to set the boundary for the mother. And what is happening is the daughter has fear of the mother and losing the mother's love or whatever, to the extent that she's not doing it. Now, Nyasha, you're in a different situation. And I want to quickly talk about that. Your situation is different because you are dependent on your parents to some degree, all right? That you have health issues that make you dependent on your parents. However, if Erin is still around, I'm pretty interested in what Erin would have done if her daddy had done that. Because that's interesting. And even though Erin was dependent on her father, Erin now has moved out of the family home and is in a group home. Now, I know, Nyasha, that probably isn't available to you, or you haven't found out whether it is yet. But, I hesitate to, or I'm really strong to say that what fits one person might not fit the next one because we don't know all the parts to the puzzle. But I know this young man particularly well. And so therefore I had, a whole different understanding of the situation, putting it mildly. But, it was really interesting how he attacked. Jody, I wonder if you could just take another time check at 38 minutes for me, because now I'm going to go on to doing some quotes on control, because I thought that would be helpful for us all, especially at this time of the year. And then we can talk about how people... All right, so hang on a second. Niesh is asking, does that mean I'd never get out of the situation? No, I don't think so. I think you will find your way out. Nyasha, I think as you learn and as you learn more about your rights and everything else, I think you are going to start putting down your boundaries a little stronger. Just, like everybody else that's part of DearMamaSal, Nyasha, we all practice these skills, all right? It's not easy. If you've never, ever set a boundary as an adult, it's not easy to do. So you need time to practice it. And I think you will. Which is, and by the way, are you getting up before your parents wake you up yet? That was the one thing we recommended to you, is prove you're an adult by waking up before they come to wake you up. Are you starting to do that? And if not, are you prepared to do that? Because as I said, part of the reason your parents treat you like a child, even though you are an adult, is because you're still behaving like one. So, but literally, my recommendation is, practice putting down small boundaries. Right? Do you do your own wash? Yes, and you will get that every week, Nyasha. I'm not joking. Every time you join the broadcast, you're going to learn a little bit more. And then if you want to see how that applies to you, then just ask that question. You're setting an alarm now. Right, give yourself a bonus point. Could I get a round of applause, please, for Nyasha? All right, and you're actually getting out of bed and being adult before they come to try and wake you up. Have they stopped waking you up yet? Oh, they still say it now because they haven't quite got it yet that you're an adult, right? So this is what we're going to teach you. I am so proud of you. Big bonus point. So, for example, do you wash your own clothes? Or does your mommy wash your clothes? All right, so here's Erin. I knew Erin would get back to me when she could. All right, so here we go. Erin said, when I was stuck in a situation like that for a long time, not with my dad, but with my mom, as much as I loved her, it was one of the same things. So I think that's why it was only after she died that I was able to take the next step. Yes, I understand that, Erin. And, maybe they don't allow you to do your wash in the washing machine. Now, isn't that amazing? Do you know why? Have you ever asked them why? I used to have my 6-year-olds do their own wash. When I inherited children at one stage of my life, I taught the children how to use the washing machine. And they loved using it. Yes, listen to Erin. Isn't that wonderful, Erin, that you can see that now? Erin says that my mom was my best friend, but we had a very complicated and somewhat codependent relationship, which means that her mother still controlled so much of Erin's life. And Erin believed that that she shouldn't cause waves. So, Erin, I love that you can see that now. Or maybe you saw it then and made a conscious choice. All right. So, Nyasha, I would actually ask that, I would like to learn how to use this. And, literally say to your mom, I'd like you to teach me the way you'd like me to do it. Wow, Nyasha, I want to send you a big hug. I'm not going to repeat that for the audience. But I understand that's a very honest statement to make. And I can understand why you might have thought that in your time. But I'm sure that if that were to happen, you'd feel really guilty. So don't wish for that. I would pray for your mom to find trust. And the way you can help her find trust is to be trustworthy. If you stop behaving like a child, she will have to realize that you're not one anymore. And I do believe at the very heart of all of this, your mother is trying to protect you. There isn't anybody in the room that doesn't understand that your mother wants to look after you. It's like, I talked many times to Beth about her daughter. Beth got into the habit of doing everything for her daughter because she had some issues. And it was really interesting because Beth, how long has she been in the chat now? Probably 6 months, but she's starting to trust her daughter now. Yeah, you think she would never change, but you know something, you'll be surprised. A lot of mothers have changed, but it requires that the adult daughter or son stand up and act like an adult. Now, to me, I don't mind telling you, Nyasha, that to me, I have asked this person who asked me for the input, I've asked him why he's still in this relationship. Because does he realize he is, in a relationship with somebody who does not have enough self-esteem to protect herself from her own mother? And I said, you may want to think about that. Well, I'll take her to therapy. Well, here we go. Guess what? He's trying to fix her. Well, it's for her to fix herself. It's not for him to do. I think you just got to ask your mom. I really would like to learn how to do it and word it in a way as an adult, I don't think it's right that you should need to do my wash. And, I really am capable of putting my clothes into the washer and pressing a button or two. Yeah. You just tell me which ones I press and how to do it. And, imagine how I'm going to feel being able to do that for myself. It would make me feel so much better if you could allow me to do that. All right. Don't come from an angry place. Come from a place of love. So here's the first quote. Jody, let's make the quote starting at 46 minutes now. You have the power over mind. You have the power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, right? You know that you have the power over your own mind, but not outside things. Realize this, and you will find strength. And that, I think, when you can honestly learn that, it is wonderful. The quote that I am going to send to this person who told me the story is this one. The best fighter is never angry. Okay, Sakura, good to see you, honey. And hope Daddy, your father-in-law as well. All right, the best fighter is never angry. Don't ever start fighting while you're angry. This is a quote from Eleanor Roosevelt, and we had a few of her quotes the other day, but this one is so true in this instance. To handle yourself, use your head. To handle others, use your heart. Hang on a second, Nyasha. Let me just get a drift of what you're saying. Okay, you're telling them that you hate them. That is sad. I'm sorry to hear that because I'm pretty sure that they have tried to protect you. So I would suggest, just a thought, you'd rather word it in a way, I love you for trying to protect me, but I think in some way you're overprotecting me and I need to be able to do something because you're not going to be around all the time. And I would like to learn to do some of these things, even if I don't do them as well as you. I need to learn how to do these things because after you're gone, I don't want to be helpless. All right, now how do you like this for a quote? If you truly want to be respected by people you love, you must prove to them that you can survive without them. There you go. Right? That's the thing. If you love something, give it away. If it comes back, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was. So I think that's a really important one, all right, which is you need to be able to prove that if necessary, you would be prepared to do that. Now, again, not true of all people. All right. So again, if every conversation you are having is belittling and they don't care, then did you read the book Codependent No More, which I recommended you read? So, Erin, I think your mom got at some level, all right, I think at some level your mother got to stay being a mom, by looking after you. She didn't have to let you go. And I think any mother will tell you the most difficult transition of their life is letting their children be grown-ups. That is a very difficult transition for any mother. And here's a really nice quote for you. It says, "I am very happy because I have conquered myself and not the world. I am very happy because I have loved the world and not myself." I felt really good when I was able to say, without being angry, maybe I've grown. All right, so you can't read at all, Nyasha? Yes, exactly, Erin. Erin's saying, I think she felt that taking care of me was her only purpose in life. She told me many times that if I left, she would have nothing and no purpose in life. Erin, exactly what I thought. Yes, you were her reason for being. You were her reward for being as well. And there's part of me that goes, I understand why you didn't want to take that away from her. But I am so proud of your daddy, and you give him a big hug from me because I'm so proud of your daddy for trusting you that you could actually survive on your own. Not on your own because you're in a group home and you have people helping you. By the way, I thought your hair looked really pretty. I saw that on a feed today, and I thought your hair looked really pretty, honey. Just wanted to say that. And how about this one? I thought this was good as well. Any woman who is sure of her own wits is a match at any time for a man who is not sure of his own temper. And I think that goes about male and female. If ever you want to be good at control, the person to control is you. In other words, when all those arrows were being shot at me yesterday, the fact that I took a deep breath and came from a place of compassion, I understand why you're angry. And I'm sorry I didn't give you the answer you wanted. I just don't think revenge is the answer. And this person of whom I speak actually was brought up by the Jesuits. So what do I know? The priests had taught him that revenge wasn't the right thing. And I said, what would the priests have said to you? Now that made him even more mad. But I needed to remind him because sometimes we do need reminding that revenge is not the answer. Revenge just lowers you to the level of the other person. Okay, I can view that deleted message. Hang on a second. All right. Yeah, okay, so Niesh is saying, I'm not a mother, but I do believe that if you teach a child from young how to do little things, they can and will get better understanding as an adult. Yes, I taught my children from, literally when they were 6, how to do, they could make tea, they could do their own wash if I needed them to, it was amazing. And they actually loved it. So Nyasha's saying, I can read, but if I do read for long hours, my eyes would hurt. And that's why I prefer to download a link. So have you tried to find a link? Have you tried to... Or are you waiting for me to do that for you? Jody, we have all accidentally put a thumbs down when we didn't mean to, or nuked somebody when we didn't need to. Luckily, I was able to get to the message anyway. How about this? How many of you agree with this one? This is very Zen at some level. One can be the master of what one does, but never the master of what one feels. All right. How many of you know that you're entitled to feel and think whatever you like? It's what you say and do that you need to control. I want to tell you that quite often, and some of you know me well enough, that things have happened here on DearMamaSal, and I've been good and angry. And those people who know me well know it because of my body language changed, or my eyes, come out on stalks or whatever. I've had a couple of times where Erin's written to me and go, "You were really quite angry about that." And I go, "Yeah, I was." But the fact that I may feel that in the split second doesn't mean I have to react to it in that way. So I try very hard. Yes, I quite agree with you. Erin is saying, I'm a big believer that you can learn how to do almost anything today on YouTube. All right. And so this is like, if you want it badly enough, the thing is, are you waiting for somebody else to do it? Now, I don't mind helping anybody. I don't mind helping anybody try and research stuff, but I'm asking you, have you tried, Nyasha? Have you tried to find what you're looking for is an audio link? Is that right? You want the audio rather than the PDF? Tell me what it is you're looking for, so we can give you some pointers. And how about this? This came from Sense and Sensibility from Jane Austen. She said, I will be calm. I will be mistress of myself. Well, I want to tell you something, Nyasha, in answer to that thing you've just written. I'm certain at some level that it wasn't their first choice. It wasn't, I don't think anybody, I'm pretty certain that Erin's parents, it wasn't their first choice to have Erin have all the problems that she's got. But it is what they were given. And they, I believe, handled it to the best of their ability. I believe your parents have been handling this to the best of their ability. And I'm really sorry that they shame you. And I'm really sorry that they hurt you the way that they do. But the thing is this, at some point, you need to be able, if you can, to look at it and see they are doing the best they can with the knowledge they have. All right? All right? So, Nyasha, I'm trying to find out, is what you're looking for a link to the audio rather than the written version of it? I don't know if I can find that for free, but if I'm just trying to make sure that I find out what it is you're trying to. And my question to you is, have you tried to find it? And if so, where? All right. So I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not doing things that you can do for yourself, because you've told me you can see. So how about this? Benjamin Franklin said, educate your children to self-control, to the habit of holding passion and prejudice, and evil tendencies subject to an uptight and reasoning will. And you will have done much better to abolish misery from the future and crimes from our society. I think one of the greatest joys I have is watching Benji and Judy with the children when they get angry. I love it where, they literally will see one of the children start losing it, and they will get down to the child's level, whichever child it is, and go, give me some words about that. I need to know why you're angry. Tell me what's made you angry. I need to understand that. But they do it very calmly and very easily. Put some words around this so that I can understand you. You are capable of telling me now. And it's funny because when they do that, the child, in trying to tell them what happened, calms down remarkably. And I always sit there and go, that is good stuff. I love what you're doing. If you conquer yourself, then you conquer the world. All right, the same way, I'm pretty sure, Nyasha, that you feel really good about being able to set your alarm clock and surprise your parents. I bet you that felt good. And I'm thinking about, I am more than certain that you can cook a meal, right? The fact your mother doesn't want you to is not the point. The point is, I'm pretty sure that you can. And I'm sure she'd say, well, I'm not going to let you do it because you don't clean up properly or whatever. Well, we've all been there. So this is called, why don't you clean up properly? If you know that's what upsets your mother and that's why she doesn't want you cooking, then that's on you. If you just cook and leave a mess for her to clean up, then I understand why she's saying that. All right, here's another that on the same level, right? Ultimately, the only power to which man should aspire is that which he exercises over himself. All right. Oh, hang on a second. Wait a minute. I want to take a screenshot of what you just said. I think I have an answer for you. Jody, can you remind me? I've taken the screenshot. Can you remind me to send Nyasha, a program or a link to a program? I've got a feeling, Nyasha, I found a program where you can actually download it. I'll have a look at it. I might not be able to do it between now and Christmas, but maybe after Christmas. Just keep reminding me. Yes, Erin, so true, isn't it? How long did it take us to learn that? Thank you, Jody. You deal with life the way it is, not the way you wish it to be. Gosh, and that's why I talk so much to people when they tell me stuff and they go, Disneyland, really? It's over there. If you want to live like that, go to Disneyland. That doesn't happen in real life. In real life, you have to deal with stuff. Life isn't easy. Like Nyasha, you got parents that treat you like a 3-year-old. Jody and Erin, you've got illnesses that are scary. I must admit that I was really surprised at the way I reacted when the doctor gave me the news that I had diabetes. And I just looked at him and I went, self-inflicted wound, not proud of myself for that. What do I need to do? I was so grateful it wasn't something far worse. Does that make sense? It was like, gosh, if the only problem I've got in life is diabetes, I'm happy. That's, I can do something about that. Or hopefully, with medication and my help, I can do something about that. But, it's like, I don't want to get freaked out about things. Well, you know something, Nyasha? How old are your parents? What sort of age are they? Because I think parenting has changed dramatically. I think the way that the books are written about parenting today are not the same as they were when I had parents, right? It's like, I think the psychology of parenting has changed. When I grew up, parenting was all about control. And if the child did anything wrong, you beat the hell out of them. I can remember getting beaten regularly. I got beaten for talking about my father, who left my mother. I got beaten for that. So, to me, we don't all grow up with the best parents in the world, but I do believe that parents do the best that they know. If they weren't taught how to be a good parent, either by their parents or by, if they didn't educate themselves in terms of what was, good parenting, it's like, how can they know that? I'm so proud of you, Nyasha, for coming and trying to learn a better way. I think that's wonderful. Somerset Maugham, some of you will know that of him, a very famous writer. He said self-control might be as passionate and active as the surrender to passion. In other words, if you can be as passionate about self-control as you are about losing it. All right, so Nyasha, that's a great bit of information. Thank you for sharing that, honey. Okay. Nyasha's saying, no, she doesn't leave a mess. But what happens is that because her eyesight isn't the best, she does leave little messes and she can't see that she's done that. And also, she can't stand all the time in the kitchen. Well, neither can Jody. So, Nyasha, do you want to know what Jody does? Because Jody can't stand in a kitchen either because of her disabilities. So would you like to know how Jody, makes cooking easier for her husband? I really appreciate that piece of information. All right, so here's the thing. Here's what I want you to do, Nyasha. I want you to think about what you can do. Do you have a fridge in your household? I really need you to be aware, as I have showed, I said, I don't want to hear what I can't do with diabetes. I want somebody to tell me what I can do. And Jody has been wonderful. Beth has been wonderful. People who understand my mentality telling me what I can do to help myself, right? I don't want to hear that I can't have shortbread cookies. I don't want to hear that I can never have a Frosty. All right. I want to know, what can I do? And, to me, then I can cope. I don't want to hear what I can't do. So here's my point to you, Nyasha. If you want to cook a meal, then, and you know that you can only stand for so many minutes at a time, then you do, all right, then you do it in bits. In other words, you go and you prep the food and put it away. And then you come back an hour later and you do a little bit more and put it away until you've got everything done. You pace yourself. That's what Jody does. Jody can't stand for more than 3 minutes, and she does all the prep work for their meals. She cuts things up and, she does the ordering, she does, prep is everything. You could be so helpful to your mother if you chose to be. Or you can continue to see her as the enemy. I would say start helping your mother do things, even if she's criticizing you. Just say, I know that I don't do it the way that you do, but I would like to help you. Please let me cut something up for you. Yes, Nyasha, and it's all learning, all right? I think what happens to you is you get into this all or nothing zone, and we've all been there, so we understand. What I'm saying is, maybe you know what your mommy's going to be cooking tonight, and you know she's going to need onions. And just say to her, Mom, I know I don't do it as well as you do, but I really would like you to teach me to cut up onions your way, because one day you might not be here and I'm going to need to be able to do this for myself. So please help me learn. That's all I want to learn today, is the right way to cut up onions. And then anytime you want onions, I'll be able to cut them up for you. All right? And then, make that your goal for the next year. How? With love. And make sure it comes from a place of love, that not from a place of anger. Not that I hate you for treating me this way in the past. You can't change the past, Nyasha. You can only change the present. And so this is, it's just like, hey, I'm sorry that this has happened, but I really do want to help you. I do not want to be a burden to you. I want to be a help to you. And while I still am able to do so, I would like to learn to do things that help you. Yeah, I think it can be a magical experience for you both. Or how about dreaming was easier than screaming, and screaming was easier than worrying, and worrying was easier than crying. Dreaming is easier than screaming. Screaming is easier than worrying, all right? And worrying is easier than crying. I really encourage you all this Christmas time to take your self-control as a major gift to yourself. In other words, you do have it if you choose to have it. It's taken me a long time to grow up. And so, Nyasha, I want you to look at me and know I wasn't very good at this stuff either. Right? I know you probably think, okay, it's all right for Mama Sal, she doesn't have that problem. I assure you, I've had lots of problems in my life. And that's why I do Dear Mama Sal. All right, so listen to this. Nyasha's saying, but it makes me feel so small. I mean, insulting me and then having me help after. You know something? You are the bigger person, Nyasha. Don't lower yourself to that level. I am sorry that she insults you. But she insults you because at some level she is frustrated that you are still a child that she has to look after. And I would say, prove to her that you can be helpful if she will just let you do that. I would find out at some level, if there's any way that you can, what are the things that upset her the most, right? Is it that you're not able to, I'm certain there's certain things that you're doing that she thinks that frustrate her. I don't know what they are. It might be that you can't, go and do your own wash or do the family wash. Why couldn't you do the family wash? I think you can tell the difference between whites and darks, right? Do you understand what I'm saying? All right, so make it your goal and tell your mom, this year, I want you to teach me how to use a washing machine, or this month. And if you teach me how to do that, I will give you my commitment that I will not only do my wash, but I will do anybody else's wash that you want me to do. If you don't want me to do your wash, I understand. Right? But if you will teach me how to use, I'm presuming you've got a washing machine, you might not have, but you understand. This is about, I want to learn because one day I'm going to have to do this on my own. As Erin has had to learn things as well. So this is a great quote, and it says, you can control yourself if you really want to. I'll tell you how I know you can control yourself. If you were in a fully fledged emotional temper tantrum in your house, and I knocked on your front door, come on, Let me tell you what, you would get control of yourself and it would only take a few seconds. How many of you have had that happen where you're really in the middle of something and you're really angry and the phone goes and you go, oh, hi. It's like you can, how many of you have done that? I've done it. And so one of the things we talk about is, if you push back against somebody who's attacking you, you're going to get nowhere. All right. So if somebody pushes you, the trick is let it go. Remember when I was on that call last night, when I got attacked, I came back with, I understand why you're angry and why you're lashing out at me. In other words, I felt it. I'm not saying you didn't do it. I'm making sure you know you did that to me, but I'm telling you, I understand why you did it. I didn't say it's okay. I just said, I understand why you did it, but I need to go now. Actually, I stayed around for about another 5 minutes, but it was then that I went, okay, this is Linda's 5-minute rule or 10-minute rule. I am now going to get out of this conversation before it goes worse. And, this young man needs to see what he did and think about it. So part of what I'm hoping that you can see from this broadcast, our personal boundaries are our own. Our ability to act like an adult is our responsibility, not somebody else's. You cannot say, I'll wait until they start treating me like an adult. You need to start treating them like an adult. Your behavior needs to change, not theirs. So there are plenty of blind people who cook, right? This is not about if you are losing your sight that you can't cook. I know you're not at that place, Nyasha, but I want you to remember that you are more than capable. All right? Your mommy might not think so, but I'm telling you from me to you, I believe you to be more than capable. I have great faith in you. And the same way as I believe the young man I was talking to is more than capable, once he gets out of his emotional anger, of seeing that no amount of anger was going to fix this problem. No amount of revenge was going to fix this problem. Adult behavior was going to fix the problem, right? And that is a set a boundary, change the locks, put out a restraining order, sell the house, do whatever. But, getting angry isn't going to fix it. All right, so Niesh is saying, this Christmas, I did not assist with anything because I don't want them. Oh, sorry. I clicked the wrong button there. Just hold on 1 second. I don't want to make them happy because in the past, I've been so depressed and sad. Okay, now I want to tell you something that's then that's acting like a child. Yeah, sure. And you know that. At some level, you know what I'm talking about here. If you're going, I'm not going to help you because I'm not going to, I don't want to make you happy. I'm asking you to make yourself happy. You are only responsible for your behavior, young lady. You're not responsible for theirs. You are responsible for your behavior. And I want you to really think about that statement you've just made. I don't want to make them happy because in the past, I've been so depressed and sad. That is, really, that's on you. That's your emotions taking control. Instead of, it is the season to be jolly, I'm going to do what I can to help. It might not be as much as I would like, but I'm going to do what I can. I can assure you, I've been, watching what Jodi's been up to. She's been wrapping presents. She's been doing everything she possibly can to make life easier for her husband. Well, I do believe in you, Nyasha, and that's not good news for you. I want to tell you that right now. The fact that I believe in you is not going to be good news for you, because I am going to keep hitting you with a 2x4 that says, grow up. And accept the reality. Yes, Mum, I know that I won't do it as well as you, because my eyes are not as good as yours, but I can do it with your help if you will teach me. And every now and then I'm going to need your eyes if possible. But, after you're gone, your eyes are not going to be there. I'm going to need to learn to actually feel, have I cleaned up properly? All right. I've got to learn those things. I need you to help me, if you will. So, Nyasha, with a huge amount of love, I'm going to get you to grow up if you want to. And I have a feeling, just the way that you're still here, that you really do want to grow up. Don't be angry. Really, it's not going to get you anywhere. Hating them is not going to get you anywhere. You are going to end up so depressed and so miserable and alone. All right? And believe you me, I've been there. So I know. I've hated the world many, many times in my life, honey, and it got me nowhere. I just, I've always said, it is my belief, Nyasha, and it's just my belief, that depression is anger turned inwards. Right? I believe that my depression was my anger turned inwards. I was busy, angry at myself, and that's what made me depressed. I couldn't get people to change, but I was not prepared to change myself. I want to tell you, when I stopped trying to change everybody, life got a lot easier. I think your mother is going to be a picky little so-and-so for the rest of her life. And I am pretty certain you probably won't do it as well as she wants for the rest of her life, but it doesn't matter. Don't let it stop you from doing it. Linda, happy birthday for tomorrow. It's not quite tomorrow yet, right? And Linda, you're going to hear, if you listen to this broadcast, if you haven't been listening to it, that I actually evoked the Linda rule yesterday. It was so funny. Something was busy happening to me, and I could hear you go, 10-minute rule, Sal. So it was so funny, because I started to chuckle inside. I didn't chuckle outwardly, but I chuckled inside, and I'm going, yep, it's been more than 10 minutes. I've had enough of this. And I had to wait about 3 or 4 minutes to be able to extricate myself politely, but I got out of it. And I didn't listen to the rest of it. And I was so proud of you for teaching me that. Thank you so much. I know you're going to say I taught it to you. I will only listen. Actually, what happened was I was busy. I was busy helping, and then I got attacked for not saying the right things. And my attitude was, if you ask for my opinion, I'm going to give it. Well, Nyasha, I'm glad that you can feel the love, honey. But we will, just slowly, just don't expect too much of yourself, but do expect yourself to act like an adult. Just keep asking yourself. Imagine I'm there in your room with you, and you're busy going there, and you're going, what would Mama Sal say to me now? And she go, grow up. Take some responsibility. Learn. So this is good stuff. By the way, I had a really interesting thing. It's Sunday, so I cooked the family meal. Now, this has made me much more aware of what I'm doing. It was interesting. It was interesting to me that my doctor didn't say don't ever have potatoes, or don't ever have rice, or don't ever have pasta. What I realize is tonight for potatoes, I'm going to be cutting potatoes in half and grilling, and doing half-baked potatoes for everybody. Rather than, 5 helpings of mashed potato. And Literally with, I'm going to brush on a little bit of oil and a little bit of lemon to give them a bit of tang. But I don't have to have, half a cup of butter on it, right? Well, all you do, Nyasha, is that when you find yourself in a negative place, and find a way to get out of the line of fire. That's how I do it. In other words, if everything's very negative in your household, find a polite way to leave the room. Say, oh, I'm sorry, I really just got to go. I just realized I promised somebody that I'd get something to them and I need to go and do it. Find a polite reason to leave the room and get out of the negativity. Does that make sense? So Linda's rule is don't take more than 10 minutes of anybody. If anybody wants to vent at you or be negative, allow them 10 minutes in your mind. After 10 minutes, find a way out of it, because that's enough. Nobody needs more than 10 minutes. Linda, you would have cracked up. I'm listening to this and I'm listening to it and I'm going, okay, that's the 10 minutes. I've got been insulted 3 times. I've managed to keep control. I'm proud of myself. I'm out of this now. Nyasha, of course you're trying. You're still here at the broadcast. We're not asking you to be perfect. You might want to, take a notepad or something. I know you don't like to write these things down for fear of somebody reading them, but it's like, think about this. What do you want to work on this week? That's that. If you just every week say, okay, this is what I heard this week. What do I want to work on? Maybe your big achievement is getting your mom to allow you to help cut up one thing, or learn how to use the washing machine. That would be a huge step forward. Just that. You don't have to do anything else. So life is about changing one step at a time. Well, it made me laugh inside, Linda, because I could hear you. And I was talking to you. I'm going, okay, Linda, I can do this. 10-minute, invoke the 10-minute rule. And it was very easy. Exactly. You've never been taught these things. By the way, have you got any friends? Have you managed to get to church yet? You were going to try and get to church. Did you do anything about that? Because I want to tell you, church people will probably do a lot to help you in these things. They will teach you these skills if your mom doesn't want to. This is like, okay, Mom, if you don't want to teach me, then fine. I need to go to church now because I need to find people that are prepared to help me learn how to look after myself. I understand you don't want to teach me because I make too much mess or whatever, but one day you're not going to be here. I'm not going to know how to cut up an onion. I don't want to cut it up perfectly. I want to know how to cut up an onion so that I can do it if I have to. And if she says, well, you're going blind, what's the point? You go, there are a lot of people that are blind that cook really well. Don't you dare think that because I am going blind, that makes me useless. It makes me useless because you won't teach me the skills I need. I need to learn these skills. So I understand if you don't want to teach me, but I'm going to find somebody who will. Nyasha, I want you to get that mentality. If your mommy won't teach you these things, if your mommy won't teach you how to use a washing machine, I need you to go and find somebody who will. I am certain that you've got people that you know in your neighborhood. I'm certain you've got people in your family. You must have presumably aunts and uncles and things. All right. Next time you're at one of their houses, go, could you teach me how to use a washing machine? I'm not allowed to do it at home. I'd love to learn. Just simple things. You just have to ask. Somebody's going to teach you. If you become a broken record, every time anybody comes, could you teach me how to use a washing machine? Because my mom doesn't want me to learn, but I might need it one day and I'd like to know how it works. They all work much the same, Nyasha. Yeah, or what is the right way to cut up onions? I can teach you how to cut up onions without crying. Would you like to learn that? I've been doing it for years. Your mommy wouldn't like it. but I love it because I never cry when I cut up onions. Yes, your best friend is blind, and boy, can he teach you some stuff. Exactly. Your best friend's mate, your best mate is blind. Your best friend, right, is blind. And yeah, that's what I was saying. Don't think that because you're losing your sight that you can't cook. That's BS. Don't think that because you're losing your sight you can't look after yourself. BS. It's stupid. It's not true. It's all the more reason to learn these skills. You need to learn those skills more than any of us, because you are going to have to be able to do it blind, probably. All right? I got to go because I have things to cook and things to learn about being diabetic and cooking. And I got some footage down that I'm going to put into a couple of vlogs this week so that you can take the journey with me. All right, Nyasha, congratulations. Well done. And what was it we got to congratulate you on? Oh, the alarm clock. Well done. One step. You get 1 adult point this week. Okay. If I paid you $1 million to find a way to get to church, I am pretty certain that you would find a way. That's all I'm saying. That's what I say to myself. When I start saying, well, it's complicated, it's difficult, I can't do it, I go, if somebody paid you $1 million to be able to do it, do you think you would be able to do it? And I go, yeah. And then you go, okay, so go and do it. Yeah, it won't be easy. We're not saying it's easy. We're not saying it's not complicated. We're saying do it. Find a way. That's what an adult does. That's what a loser says, oh, it's complicated, it's not easy, and I have 16 excuses why it's not done. I'm saying, if you want to be adults make a plan. Don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do it this week, but get the right mentality. All right, everybody, big hugs. Remember the case study. If we don't put down boundaries, we will be abused in some way. That is the big lesson here. I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. We will be doing a cast on Christmas Day, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And that's for anybody who cares to be there. It will be my pleasure to chat with you. I'm not sure what we'll be talking about, but let's do it anyway. Jody, thank you again for all that you do to keep notes for me. I don't know how you do it when I think about how you do it, but I don't really mind how you do it, honey. I've never asked you and I've never told you how to do it. I just know you do it for me and I'm very, very grateful. Everybody, I am going to wish you a very Merry Christmas. Linda, happy birthday. Yes, boundaries stop the ability for abuse. When you put down a boundary, you're putting a wall between you and an abuser. They cannot abuse you if they can't get that far. Because every time you're going to put up that wall and go, excuse me a second. But we'll talk more about that. Nyasha, I will find, if I can, over the course of the next week, how to download that book that we're talking about. If there is a way of doing it, I will let you know. All right? All right, everybody. I've read it, Nyasha. I'm going to. I can't discuss it at this late in the broadcast, right? We'll talk about it another time. So, but I understand what you're saying. I sent her your information, Linda. I actually sent her a screenshot of what your messenger looks like. Nyasha, you've got that, right? You remember? I sent it to you and you acknowledged that you had received it. So, Linda, if she has not got hold of you, it is her choice. You get what I'm saying, Linda? I'm not going to be codependent here. I'm not going to enable. I made sure that I took a screenshot of what your messenger name looks like. I gave her the name and the screenshot of what it would look like for her. And I know she can see that much. And she hasn't asked for any other help on that one. So that's been Nyasha's. Nyasha, Linda wants to help you. She can't help you if you don't get hold of her. You need to do something so that Linda knows you want the help. It's not for Linda to do the work. Right? Good one, Linda, but thank you for letting me know. Have a super birthday. No, Nyasha, you're the one that needs to, you got the link, I sent it to you. You send the friend request to Linda. You do the work, honey. You're the one that wants help. All right? Don't make Linda do it. That's the wrong way around. Linda is offering to help you. You send her the link. Please. I gave you the picture of it and the name, so I know that you have the information you need. You can do this. I trust you to be able to do it. If you hit a problem, then contact me and I will try and help you. But this is your challenge. Can you do this for yourself? This is DearMamaSal saying, have an awesome Christmas and enjoy life to the best of your own ability. This is DearMamaSal saying, remember to look after one another, but please, first of all, remember to look after yourself. And Linda, thank you for the 10-minute rule. Bye for now.